Hi everybody. So some of you know that on the 24th of May, I had the worst nights of seizures that I've ever had. In the 6 or 7 years of having seizures, the night of the 24th of May was the worst one of my life. It's affected my PTSD quite badly, and the way that I work through things that do traumatize me is I write them down, and it helps me get it all out in a timeline and process it. And so that's what I did, and I wanted to read it out to you. So obviously there will be a trigger warning. It is hard to listen to, it can be graphic. Yeah, but I think it's really important that people know how severe seizures can be and what the reality is, I suppose. So I'm gonna sort of read it out and tell you the story of it, basically. 24th of May 2022. Around 10 p.m. I sat on my floor ready to do my 100 sit-ups. My body didn't allow me to even do one. I suddenly felt my limbs begin to tighten. They locked into place and my face dropped. I was scared. This has happened hundreds of times, but this one came with a feeling of dread, as if my body was warning me it was going to be a bad one. My parents helped me walk into their room to get me onto the king-side bed so I'd be safe. But I wasn't really walking, more like dragging my stiff feet along the floor as if they had metal rods inside of them. So many gaps are missing, but I began to stiffen even more. Every muscle in my body tightened, contracted, and didn't loosen. Catatonia came. My eyeballs froze. This is when I know it's a severe episode. I wasn't able to move my eyes. I couldn't look at my mum anymore. I could hear her talking to me, but I was distracted. Distracted by the burning sensation in my eyeballs as my body couldn't blink. The feeling as though someone above me is pouring acid into my eyes. My muscles felt like they had been set on fire. I felt like a dead body, a body which is set into rigor mortis. Am I dead? Are the words that I managed to whimper to my mum. I felt nothing but terror in those moments. Soon I started to seize, again and again and again. One seizure after the other, they never seemed to stop. My face contorted, my stiff body convulsing. In between seizures, my face paralyzed. My jaw flopped open and stayed there. I was awake, I could feel my limp face and couldn't do anything about it. The seizures continued with no signs of stopping. The convulsions were getting more and more severe. A few seconds of consciousness allowed me to say to my mum, "Help, help." An ambulance was called. I came out of one of many seizures, hot, sweaty, in pain and exhausted. By this time it's been over an hour and a half. The seizures and muscle contractions were so extreme that I vomited. I couldn't believe what my brain was putting me through. I seized yet again and the paramedics arrived. 2 milligrams of diazepam was administered, but that wasn't the end of it. After this, it's mostly blank. How did I get from my parents' room to in the ambulance? What happened on the way to the hospital? I don't remember anything, and I think that scares me a little bit. Not knowing is scary. Mum said that I had another seizure in the ambulance. Another 10 milligrams of diazepam was given to try and stop the seizures. Then I fell unconscious. I was in a coma-like state for hours, waking up for a couple minutes to seize once more, then returning to being unconscious. I finally woke up, drained, sore, needles in both arms, attached to a drip, and traumatized. All of that because of a stupid infection, a stupid rash. 10 hours of what felt like human torture. 10 hours. That night didn't even fully end that day. Days, weeks later, the images, the flashbacks in my head wouldn't let me move on and let go. I've shed many tears over that night. The depression that came after was intense. It was heavy and tiring. I'm trying to heal. until the next severe episode comes along and takes its place. I told you guys that it was going to be heavy and possibly difficult to listen to, but it feels nice after having it out, and even just writing it down felt good. Like, I just wanted to get it out, I suppose, and also because my job is to raise awareness of my conditions, and seizures are one of my biggest symptoms. They always have been, and so I always want to raise awareness and educate people on just how awful it is, without sugarcoating, without making it seem not as bad as it actually is, because what is the point in doing that? I hope you learned something. Yeah. Bye.